What up, gamers? You're now in tune to another episode of Winds of the Far East. I'm the East Wind, and today's segment is dealing with game politics. And as you can see by the title, it's dealing with PlayStation TV. Now, there's a lot of behind closed doors things that happen with both. Anytime you talk about PlayStation TV, it automatically corresponds to PlayStation Vita. That's just a given. I mean, PlayStation TV is basically a box top Vita without the screen. My whole thing, the reason I got one, or the reason I wanted one, was to play handheld games on a TV with a console controller. There was, past tense, an issue with Sony, quote, I don't know the exact phrase of what was said, but it went something along the lines of they didn't know who to market, or they didn't know how to market PlayStation TV. Which is crazy when you really think about it. Like, here you have a corporation, Sony, that has had substantial success with PlayStation, the brand. And that's what they were trying to use, or trying to sell PlayStation TV on. Just the PlayStation name alone, and it didn't work. PlayStation TV, its target demographic was super obvious. It's so obvious that it's crazy that they didn't market it to this target demographic. The target demographic for PlayStation TV it still is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they stopped production of the actual device, but it's still being sold. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. The target demographic for PlayStation TV is console gamers who don't like playing on handhelds. That is as simple as it gets. They didn't market it towards those gamers though. And for whatever reason, people were saying that PlayStation TV was marketed as a streaming TV device. I never saw those ads. You know, if they did have them, I didn't see them. I never saw Netflix, like PlayStation TV does Netflix and all that type of stuff. I only saw them talking about it was going to play Vita games and PSP games. Matter of fact, the list they had on the PlayStation blog was super long. And then by the time PlayStation TV actually released, that list grew shorter and shorter. They just kept taking games off. Blocks of games, really. I remember looking at the PSP list because that's what I was interested in. That's my thing. Like, I wanted to play PSP games on the TV. So these is games like Phantasy Star Portable 2. That was my main game I wanted to, or that was the main game I wanted to play on PlayStation TV, because in my opinion, this is my opinion right here, it is the best Phantasy Star to me because it has a samurai theme to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was actually able to beat it, but I wanted to play it, you know, to really enjoy that Phantasy Star. It's a lot of, you know, weapons and armors and stuff you can get, and I didn't want to do that again on the PSP. I've played on the PSP. You know, who hasn't? You know, God of War, Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta, Dissidia, Valkyria Chronicles 2. But the whole time that PSP was vibrant and it, you know, it had a heartbeat, I was always like, man, they need to make something to where you can play these games on the TV. Shout out to Sony Santa Monica for going back and remastering or whatever they did formatting the source code for it to be able to be played on PS3, because to me that worked flawlessly. I checked it out or whatever, and it played exactly as it did on the PSP with no problems as far as I could see. So my whole thing with that was, I was like, yo, maybe the other, PSP publishers will bring some of their games to the, remaster them or whatever and put them on PSN to be played on the PlayStation 3. My hopes was high for Phantasy Star, but I figured it more than likely wasn't gonna happen. But when PSTV was announced, I didn't need them to market it to me. Once they said like, yeah, it could play PSP games, I was like, yo, that's it. I'm gonna get it because I wanna play some PSP games that I never got a chance to play, or that I wanted to, fully, run through the game, versus just like, playing it and being like, nah, I can't keep playing it on this handheld device. So just recently, as you all know, if whoever's listening to this broadcast, you know that they discontinued the PSTV, and I don't know what the statement was after that, whether they was, well, this is my thing with it. Anything that the Vita can do, the PSTV should be able to do. So any new Vita game should be playable on PSTV, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see why they wouldn't be playable, but it's possible that they might not be playable on that for whatever reason. So like I said, the target demographic was console gamers who don't like handhelds. We exist. There's a lot of people that'll say, yeah, you'll just suck it up and buy a handheld if you really want to play that game. No, we won't. Some people will say, yo, you stubborn, man, like, just give in. Nah, I like to play video games in a comfortable fashion, and playing them on a handheld is not comfortable. Like, you either constantly looking down, you gotta hold the handheld in front of your face if you want to keep your neck straight or whatever. So no, that's not comfortable for me. For playing on a console, you know what I'm saying, you can kick back, recliner, kick your feet up or whatever, and just chill and play, the game you want to play. Relaxed, really. And then it's the issue of the control, especially for the PSP. For the PSP, what they called the DualShock on the PSP was a joke, man. It was more like a button. You couldn't really even navigate like that with that thing. But it is what it is. So it recently came to my attention. I mean, I really wasn't paying attention to what was going on with the PSTV, because, once I saw that list basically disappear about PSP games, I kind of was like, man, I got this joint for nothing. Because, they had Brave Story New Traveler was one of the PSP games that they said was playable on PSTV. And the thing is, I was really thinking that the PSTV would have a PSP, like a UMD slot to put in the games. And then in that case, I wouldn't have had a problem. I could have just went and bought the UMDs for the games I wanted to play, and I wouldn't be talking about it right now. But for the simple fact that it only has the Vita slot, I was like, okay, so if that's the case, they're going to make all the PSP games, you will have to download, off PSN, so they'll be digital. So I was like, alright, whatever, I'm cool with it. The games are super old, I ain't got no problem putting out a couple bucks to buy them. So I'm waiting, and none of those games, Phantasy Star Portable 2, it was on PSN at one time. It's not up there. Valkyria Chronicles 2, it was you could do it through a transfer, you know, what they call the whitelist, where you had to transfer it from the PlayStation 3 to the PSTV or PS Vita in order to play it up there. You couldn't download it directly to the device, which was crazy to me. Now, if you look at the details for Valkyria Chronicles 2, it doesn't say anything about compatibility with PSTV. You can't even transfer it. So, you know, just the other day I was looking at, when they had the flash sale up, I think it was the flash sale, Jet Set Radio Valkyria Chronicles 2 was up there. I checked Valkyria Chronicles 2, nothing about PlayStation TV. I checked Jet Set Radio, some features may not be compatible with PlayStation TV. So Jet Set Radio is compatible with PlayStation TV, yet Valkyria Chronicles 2 is not. Out of the two games, Valkyria Chronicles 2 is the more recent game, so you would figure that would be compatible with PlayStation TV. I don't get it. Like, do these publishers not want money? Somebody said a while back that it was a licensing issue. A licensing issue with who? Sega? Do they not want money? Like, people want to play these games. Like I was starting to say a minute ago, Sony got caught in their feelings about hacks that were being applied to the Vita and the PlayStation TV, where the hackers were able to I'm gonna call it unlock, not even really hacking. They were able to unlock the dormant PSP properties of the Vita and PlayStation TV, you know, PSTV, whatever you want to call it, to where it could play the ISOs of PSP games. What did Sony do? They came in and patched, you know, a patch is something to fix something. They basically just sealed off, you know, send a hole in a source code. So now it's not even possible. You only could do it on like the firmware 3.55 or lower or something like that. And to be honest, if I had came across it when I had that firmware, I would have got that exploit. Just keeping it real. Why though? Because I want to play the PSP games that I mentioned. And Sony, I don't get it. Like, all you got to do is put the PSP catalog back on PlayStation Network, and you gonna see money come in for Valkyria Chronicles 2. For me, Phantasy Star Portable 2. It's a bunch of Phantasy Star fans that's still looking for Phantasy Star Online 2, and that's a whole nother topic altogether. I don't get, like, it's like they don't want money. All they have to do is put the top PSP games back on PlayStation Network. I'm not saying put the entire PSP library up there. It would be nice, but put the games up there that the people really want to play. Valkyria Chronicles 2. Like I said, for me, Phantasy Star Portable 2. What's some other PSP games? I can't really think off the top of my head right now, man. There's actually some Japanese PSP games that, but then again, your PSP might, I want to say PSP is region locked. I'm not sure, man. If it isn't, then there's some Japanese PSP games that they could do, which that's another topic too. The fact that they took like the Japanese import section off of PlayStation Network. And for good reason though. It's a good reason why people weren't buying those games. Number one, they selecting those games. They really need to, I don't want to say take a poll, but they need to realize that it's certain Japanese games that, you know, us in the West want to play when it comes to PSP or PlayStation 3 or PS Vita. For PSP, Shining Blade was one of my joints. Like, that should have been like a Japanese import. I think they only had Japanese imports for PlayStation 1, if I'm not mistaken. So that was another flaw in a Japanese import setup to begin with. Like, It should have been PS2 and PSP. PlayStation 1, there's probably a few, but not as many as PlayStation 2 and PSP. For PlayStation 2, the number one game that comes to my mind that a bunch of Western gamers wanted to check out and play is Namco X Capcom. I think that will be on a bunch of PS2 gamers list as a game they wanted to play but never got the chance to because it never was localized. Off of that, so for PlayStation TV, the target demographic was simple. Just as I said, it was console gamers who didn't like playing on handheld PSP or PS Vita devices. This was the bridge to alleviate that. So like for me, I bought Freedom Wars, a PS Vita game. I would have never bought it otherwise. I wouldn't have bought a Vita to play Freedom Wars. Some people can say, oh, you're being cheap. You took the cheap route by buying PSTV. You know, PS Vita costs more. Who cares? Like I just said, man, it's about being comfortable and playing the game you choose to play. I play Freedom Wars comfortably. Like, I'm good. It's no difference from somebody that actually has a PS Vita playing the game. The only difference is I can play it on my TV, you know, in the fashion that I'm used to playing games. It's still the same game, is it not? The money that was used to buy the game is still going to Sony. So if I hadn't have bought the PS TV, Sony wouldn't have got any money from me for Freedom Wars. So that's one less sale. I don't know what type of marketing team they got over there at Sony, what they talk about in that boardroom or whatever, but apparently they don't have any type of logic. It's ignorance for them to say that they didn't know how to market the PlayStation TV. First of all, it never was a TV box top in the same category as Apple and the Roku TV. It never was that. I never saw any type of ads where it said, yeah, these channels will be on PlayStation TV. If they did say anything related to streaming, which I didn't pay attention to that. Like I said, once I saw that it could play PSP games, I was like, yo, that's it. That's all I needed. I didn't need them to market it to me. I already knew, like, yeah, I'm going to use it to play handheld games. That's what it's for. That's the main. If there's a forefront and a background to the PlayStation TV, playing handheld games is at the forefront of the device. Whatever else it can do is secondary. It's in the background. They tried to market it as a PS4 thing. So in Japan, they used it and say, yeah, this is a device to where you can play Vita games on your TV. When it came to the West, they said this is a companion for your PlayStation 4 to where you can use it to play if somebody is using the living room TV. You can use the PlayStation TV to gain remote access to your PlayStation 4. And that's what they tried to market it as. The little marketing they did do, or word of mouth that they did speak on it, that's what they tried to sell it as. Like, yeah, it's a PS4 companion, when it's not a PS4 companion, and it's definitely not Netflix or whatever else you channel TV. It's not that device. It is a handheld to TV device for console gamers who don't want to play on handhelds. Period. The streaming side of it is game streaming. That's it. Like the PlayStation Now thing. That's really what they were trying to, like, on the back end. Or maybe no, they had their priorities backwards. So they wanted to push it as a game streaming device, when in actuality it was a handheld to console device. Like for console gamers to play handheld games on their TV. Period. The whole thing about streaming, the Wi-Fi on the PlayStation TV is garbage. Like, straight up, man. I've never seen Wi-Fi that terrible. Like, even phones is better than the PlayStation TV Wi-Fi. I don't know what they got inside there for the Wi-Fi or reception or whatever, but it's trash. So yeah, for you see, like, the majority of people have it actually connected to the internet. The PlayStation 3 doesn't have that issue. Like, it connects to Wi-Fi, no problem, strong connection, all that. But then again, since it is Vita based, it's probably due to the fact that the Vita relies on this internet connection through cell phone providers. But yeah, man, I needed to talk about this, man, because nobody else is talking about it. I watched a video the other day about PlayStation TV, is it dead or whatever? Nihon Gamer. Matter of fact, he's the first person I actually watched footage of the PlayStation TV 4, Freedom Wars to be exact, like, to see how it played on the TV or whatever. And that was part of my reasoning for getting the PlayStation TV. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, it played flawless. It looks flawless, man. It looks like it didn't have no issues at all, you know, as far as controls go, which it shouldn't. I mean, it's the same X, circle, triangle, and square face buttons as it is on a DualShock controller, so translating the game shouldn't have been a problem. The licensing thing, that's Sony. Like, I know it's Sony, and even if it isn't Sony and it's the actual publishers of these games, like Sega not wanting to put Phantasy Star on, or Phantasy Star, both really, Phantasy Star Portable and Phantasy Star Portable 2 on PlayStation Network. Why? It's money. People's going to buy these games. They want to play these games. It's like, yo, the suits, man, the suits at these corporations, man, they not in tune with the consumer. And it's sad, really. Like, here I am, you know, I want to pay you for a game that's super old to be able to play it on my PlayStation TV. Yet, the game is unavailable for me to be able to do that. So you losing out on revenue. So you want to talk about it in financial terms, or terms that they want to understand. It's not money to them, it's revenue. So you're missing revenue because you're not allowing these games to be purchased. Shout out to Atlas. You know, I copped the Kenkai Bancho. You know, I never played it or whatever on the PSP, but I bought it and I was able to play it on PlayStation TV. So that's money in Atlas' pocket. For people saying that it is dead, as far as production goes, it's no question. Like, I don't see them returning to the production of the PlayStation TV. But it's not dead in terms of they can actually salvage what's left of the PlayStation TV, the owners of PlayStation TV and Vita too. So like I said, when you talk about them, it's in tandem. They correspond to each other. So, or what I mean by salvaging is putting, like I said, the top PSP games back on PlayStation Network. And that's probably, I don't know, maybe about, I say probably about 100. See, this is the thing. It's about the library of games. That's the main reason, like, they talking about they couldn't sell it to people. Like, they couldn't convince people to buy it. Like I said, you wouldn't have needed to convince anybody had there been a library of games to choose from. The library of games that's currently on the PlayStation Network for PlayStation TV is grouped. They even have it at the top. It says PlayStation TV games. And that's games that they chose. I'm not talking about PlayStation games. Remember what I said. PlayStation TV is a handheld to TV device. So it's about handheld games, not console games. It's not about PlayStation 1 games. It's not about PlayStation Now streaming your PlayStation 4. It's all about the handheld games. And there's not a lot of selection. There's no variety to choose from. Granted, Dissidia is in it, and that is a top PSP game, no question. Valkyria Chronicles 2 is there, but you can't get it and put it on PlayStation TV or PS Vita for that matter, if I'm not mistaken. If it is on PS Vita, like I said, remember I'm talking about PlayStation TV. It's just, like I said, it's in tandem since the engine of the PlayStation TV is the same components of PS Vita. So just from now on, I'll just say PSTV. Yeah, it's what they chose. That's why nobody's buying anything. Or since it's people buying it, the statistics is low for how many people have bought said title. It's because y'all chose what games is there. Whereas if, like I said, at least 100, that should cover about the best of the best from the PSP. This is the thing. The PSP's library is so far greater than the PS Vita's library. That's a fact. Nobody can argue with that. PS Vita's library is scarce in comparison to PSP's library. And for me, the PSP's game library is what I wanted to play. Aside, there are some PS Vita games that, you know, like Freedom Wars, that I wanted to check out or whatever, and I copped Freedom Wars, so it's pure ignorance, 100%. You know, there's no greater example of ignorance is bliss than this right here. Sony is so out of tune with the consumers that it's not even funny. Like I said, if it's not Sony, they should be on the phone with the publishers like, yeah, we got gamers, you know, with the PSTV, we got gamers that want games from your old catalog, like Phantasy Star Portable 2, Brave Story New Traveler, Valkyria Chronicles 2, Valkyria Chronicles 3, if they bring back the Japan import thing, Shining Blade, One Piece, Romance Dawn. That's another one. I couldn't think of it a minute ago, but that's another Japanese PSP game that, you know, I wanted to play on the PSTV. It's crazy how they don't want to allow the device to be exploited for these people to play said games, PSP games, but they'll go and update the firmware to shut it down, but they won't give it to you officially. It's ironic, isn't it? It's just crazy how that's revenue that you're not getting because you're not allowing it. If a Sony representative just happens to listen to this or peep this, tell your boss, like for real, to get on the phone with those publishers of those PSP games and bring back a proper PSP library to PlayStation Network. The thing is, people tried to say that all PSP games wasn't compatible with PlayStation TV, which is false. I've seen it with my own two eyes. The hacks that these hackers, the unlock that the hackers were able to do on the PlayStation TV shows that any PSP game is playable on PlayStation TV. So that's the entire PSP catalog. It's just that for whatever reason, Sony didn't allow it. The proof is in Kinkai Bancho. If that plays on PSTV, what's the difference in all the PSP games? The format is the same, the finalization of the game or whatever that makes it able to run on said device, whether that's PSP or PlayStation 3. It's inside the Vita's technology or whatever. So the question is, why aren't there more PSP games available than the ones that currently are for PS Vita users and PlayStation TV users? So that ain't the reason. It's licensing or some type of dispute amongst the publishers or whatever. We don't know. All I can say with a certainty is if the games are put back on PlayStation Network, revenue will come in. I mean, like I've seen comments where people say, if it just had more games that I could get on PlayStation TV, I would use it more. I want to play it. That's my same sentiments. I want to play the PlayStation TV. I want to play more than Freedom Wars. Cool, I got Freedom Wars. I want to play some more PSP games. The only PSP game I got is Kenkai Bancho. The only other one I would get, or I might get, is The City. But what's 3 games? Oh, like I was saying to a Sony rep, that if they come across this, for real, talk to your bosses, man, because it's actually possible to rekindle the life of the PSTV and put some money in your boss's pockets at the same time. If you put that PSP catalog back up there, or the top 100 PSP games for the West back up there, or top 150, whatever. PSP games. That being said, thanks for listening. Peace.